Tennessee WildCast is live on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. I'm Jason Harmon, and it is deer season. We're in full swing and excited about today, and the waterfowl season is in full choke or full swing. Waterfowl season starts this weekend. That's the title of today's show, Waterfowl and Full Choke. So that was Mr. Jamie Feddersen's idea. I liked it, and he's our guest today.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Welcome back,
good.
Jamie.
Thank you.
And Mr. Don King is helping me co-host today, and glad to have him in studio as well.
I always learn something here with Jamie, for sure.
Yeah, he keeps me on my toes because waterfowl is not my expertise. I'm a deer hunter, and I like to turkey hunt, I like to fish, but I don't know a whole lot about ducks, and we're going to learn more about ducks today.
There you go.
Because Jamie is the expert. But first, I want to highlight deer season. Deer season is, like we said, in full swing. The deer are moving, and folks are having a good time out there, killing a lot of deer. A lot of big deer I've seen, even some on some of our WMAs, some pretty nice deer coming off those. And so if you get a chance, go visit some of our WMAs, some of our public property, and always check your hunting guide to make sure you got the right regulations and bag limits and all that kind of stuff. But through January 6th, the season will run, and I was looking at the weather for this weekend. Saturday is going to be kind of wet and rainy and thunderstorms, but high around 70, and Sunday partly cloudy, high around 65. So Sunday might be a better day as far as the weather is concerned, but it's going to be a little wet this weekend, but hopefully y'all can get out there and still have some fun chasing some deer.
Yeah.
Also want to remind everybody about the CWD restrictions. That's still in place, and be thinking about that. That's on page 30 of our hunting guide. tnwildlife.org has the latest edition of the hunting guide out there. But there's been a few deer that's been confiscated, people not following those import restrictions, and their deer are being taken. And
Yeah, if they hunt anywhere out of state, I mean, just a mile across the line or a little ways across the line, and bringing that big deer back is not the right thing to do, unless you get it processed and abide by the restrictions.
Follow those restrictions. Page 30, there's 5 main points right there, and if you follow those, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. We don't want CWD in Tennessee. We're CWD free right now, as far as we know, and there's a few states around us, Mississippi being one that's had another confirmed case, and I think they've got 3 total so far. But we want to keep those deer out of Tennessee.
Doing our best to keep it out, and so spread the word among your friends and all, because we've tried to do our best to get the word out here through this program and any other piece of information we put out. Try to remind hunters, but sometimes it just kind of falls through the cracks. So share that with your friends too.
I want to say thank you all for watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Facebook today, and also listening on the radio. We appreciate y'all tuning in there. But welcome in, and we're going to talk about waterfowl today.
All right.
Jamie, seasons start this weekend, right? December 1st.
Well, yeah, that's going to be the opening of the second phase. So the season already opened up this past weekend.
Right.
We have that traditional 2 days after Thanksgiving, Saturday and Sunday. Mm-hmm. We call it our phase 1. But phase 2, starts this Saturday, and it goes through the last Sunday in January, which is January 27th.
Okay, so this is the longer season. A few more days to get out there, and
right.
It's going to be a little wet and rainy. But I think waterfowl hunters like that, right?
Yeah, you were saying it sounds like it's not going to be a great day to go hunting, and that sounds like a perfect day to go hunting for ducks. The temperature's a little bit high. If it's going to be in the 70s, it's like a little bit cooler than that, and the ducks move around a lot more. But spittle and rain, and that's good. That's good duck hunting weather to me.
And all species are up for grabs?
Yeah, that's it. I don't think that we don't have any closures on any of the species in the Mississippi Flyway, so we're good on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then let's mention this too. There's a special youth waterfowl hunt later in the year, and that's February 2nd through and February 9th. So 2 days there.
Correct. Yeah. So the first 2 the first 2 Saturdays in February. So that's usually when we have our youth hunt days, and those are great opportunity to bring the kids out and give them the experience. But don't wait for those 2 days. Take those kids out. You've got another 58 days of hunting that those kids can go out and go. So bring them along with you.
And then also goose seasons are open as well. They run through, a lot of them run through February 10th.
Yeah, I think we last year we did some reconfiguration of our goose seasons to get them all to align, starting on the same day and ending on the same day. So I think the only one that maybe comes up a little bit short is white-fronted goose, I think.
Okay.
I don't have the guide in front of me. I don't quite remember, but
looks like white-fronted is December 1st through February 10th.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep.
Sorry. So we were able to get that to align. I think it was. Yeah, I guess maybe it was some of the earlier days that we couldn't get them to align.
So page 22 and 23 of the Hunting Guide, tnwildlife.org.
Yeah, so we've got all the geese.
Check it out.
All the geese lined up with a completely overlap waterfowl season, and they all end together on February 10th. Or that's what we said, right? Yeah.
Yep. February 10th.
And you wanted to mention also the Sandhill crane season.
Yeah, Sandhill crane season. We've been, golly, I think it might be our 6th year going into this, 7th year maybe. I've lost track. It's an institution now. So overlaps with the second phase of waterfowl season, December 1st through January 27th. We've still got our southeast crane zone. We issued tags for folks to hunt in those areas back in August. We had a hand draw over at Meigs County. Oh, no, it was Ray County High School.
Ray
County High School. Issued out a lot of tags. We issued more tags this year than we had been able to in the past. Those folks got 3 tags apiece, can harvest 3 cranes throughout the season. Then we did our computer draw at the end of September. Folks that were issued tags during the computer draw, they each got 2 tags, which is 1 more than they got last year. So less people were issued tags, but what we heard from public input was, hey, look, 1 tag is great, but 2 tags would be even better. We thought that was a good idea. Lots of people, when you're out there, it's a lot of effort to get out there and harvest a crane. So a little bit of a reward for those folks that are putting in the effort, getting that extra crane. Those tags are good anywhere in the state, including the crane zone. Something different that we've got this year. In the past, we've provided a mail-back check-in card. So each tag that was issued had a corresponding mail-in check-in card. They'd fill it out, send it in to us. That was getting pretty costly, time-consuming on our end, putting in that data. So we've worked with our licensing and permitting folks, and we've got online check-in for Sandhill cranes now. So basically, you can really check in a crane any way that you can check in a deer. You should be able to check in your crane.
Okay.
That includes going to an actual physical check station if you need to. So that's
or through the app.
Yeah, through the app, through the Real System Online. However, any way that you can check in a deer, you should be able to check in your crane. And we really are. That's what we need people to do. Check in your cranes that way. Of course, we've also are required by federal law to do some postseason surveys, get information from folks about how they hunted cranes and things. So we've always had a mail back survey. We didn't provide that to the statewide computer drawn folks. There should be, when they go to check in their crane, there should be an option to fill in their postseason survey online. So that's how we would like, and we urge those other folks that have. I was gonna say I wanted to urge the folks that got their tags at the hand draw to do it that way, but I just remembered that the system isn't set up to take those folks. So they've got their mail back surveys. They need to mail their surveys back to us. We're hoping to get that resolved for next year so that everybody checks in their cranes online and everybody checks in or does their surveys online. We kind of want to go to a completely automated system on that. Save us a lot of money and a lot of time on that. So stay tuned. That should happen.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Also on the Sandhill cranes, make sure you know your target before you shoot.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of birds may resemble a crane, and you might get them confused. But we know you hunters out there know what you're shooting at. But you have to take that test, right?
Yep.
There's a crane identification test that you have to take on our website, tnwildlife.org, and pass that before you can get out there and hunt.
Yeah, that's
even though
correct.
you got drawn, you got to pass that test first.
Yeah, that's you put that test number on your tag, and that's what validates your tag. Yep.
So make sure you identify what you're shooting, and there are a few protected birds out there that we don't want you shooting at.
Yep.
And the interest in this has only gone up
Yeah,
from
it really
the
has.
beginning, hasn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely has.
It's amazing how, that first handheld draw was at Birchwood School,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, had to move it to a bigger venue.
Yeah, and I think I wasn't around for the first one, but my understanding is that they didn't even issue all the tags that first year. So, it's definitely grown. Now we've got it to a point where we're sorry, but we've got to turn people away, and folks are entering that statewide draw, and people aren't getting. I didn't get my crane tags this year. I was one of the ones that didn't get it. So, it's the popularity of crane hunting is really skyrocketing.
Yeah, that's
Blown
good.
up. Yeah. We've got a few more things we want to hit on as far as ducks, but let's remind everybody license types. You need that type 001, the 05, which is your waterfowl permit, and then you will need a migratory bird and a federal duck stamp. So make sure you have all your different licenses you need to hunt all those waterfowl species.
Yeah, hey, let me throw something in there on that too. That migratory bird permit. Now, it's not required. If you're a lifetime license holder, it's not required of you. But boy, we would really like it if you folks participated and got that, because that really gives us some good information about who's really hunting in Tennessee. That migratory bird permit, we really, really rely on that to find out how many people are actually hunting ducks. And there's a lot of people that we miss by, those lifetime license holders not filling that out. So it's not required of you, but boy, I would really encourage you.
And basically what that is a survey, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Jamie?
really is. It's just, that's really all it is. It's
A few quick questions.
they ask
about,
you, if you hunted ducks last year and how many you got, and if you hunted doves or if you hunted snipe. So there's
Right.
just a couple of questions really that you're asking. And it's just great information for us to have to really get a handle on how many hunters we have for some of these migratory bird species.
Yeah.
With those lifetime license holders, that puts a bit of a question mark or an asterisk on, when we say this is how many duck hunters we have in the state, we have to put an asterisk next to it because we're missing a segment of our hunters that we just don't know whether or not they're hunting ducks or not. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I would just encourage. It'd be great if you could do that. So
Okay.
Thanks to everybody if you do that.
So, folks that are going to be out there this weekend, let's remind them about some of the we may run into some of our folks wanting to take samples.
Yeah. So the Fish and Wildlife Service they started doing a survey last year. It's a genetic survey on black ducks. They've got some questions about where these black ducks are being derived. So basically, where are they hatched out of? And they can use this process called stable isotope analysis that they can determine through certain things within their DNA. Well, and I'm probably saying this wrong because I don't know I'm not completely familiar with the process. But basically, it's a genetic test to find out, like with Ancestry DNA or something, you can figure out where these birds came from, if they're Canadian origin or if they're United States origin. A lot of what they've been doing, what they did last year was they used wings from the wing bee. So there's a certain segment of the hunting population that actually will mail in wings to the Fish and Wildlife Service every year, and that's part of that information is used to determine age and sex ratios in the harvest. How many juveniles were killed, how many females were killed. But so they didn't get enough wings from the Mississippi flyway black duck harvest. Just not enough folks are harvesting black ducks that are participating in this program. So the Fish and Wildlife Service asked us, hey, can you guys get out there and try to collect some additional black duck wings at check stations or boat ramps or whatever? So we put the call out. We're probably going to have some Fish and Wild or TWRA staff out at boat ramps, common duck hunting areas, and just going to ask if they can clip a wing off of your black duck. So if you're not planning on having your black duck mounted, please, I'd encourage you to allow one of our staff members to clip that wing so that we can send it in to the Fish and Wildlife Service and they can use that as part of this genetic study. So it's really the study is some of the population surveys that they're getting in Canada don't really jive with what's happening in the United States, and so there's some question, and that's why they need to determine the origin of where these birds come from, because maybe they're being double counted or maybe they're not being counted the right way. So it's important stuff, and it's really going to help out with black duck management. So if you could spare the wing off of your harvested black duck, we'd really appreciate it. So,
do a lot of people get those mounted, do you think?
It just depends on the shape.
First bird or something, maybe.
It depends on the shape that the bird is in. You know, so it really just depends on the person. And I would say probably 99 out of 100 birds that we're going to come across, people aren't going to have them mounted. So
All right. Well, let's move into the option to extend this season setting or the dates of the season.
Yeah, so this is going to be a big thing for us over the next couple of months. The way duck seasons are set, the Fish and Wildlife Service, of course, they're the ultimate managers of migratory birds. They're the ones that set out the rules for how states can set the season, their duck seasons or their hunting seasons for migratory birds. And the framework, so they set out this document that has frameworks of how states can set their seasons. And for the longest time, it's been a really long time, the closing date, the last day that the state could have a duck season was the last Sunday in January. And so sometimes that might be January 23rd, 24th. Sometimes it's actually January 31st. Well,
this year it's the 27th.
This year is the 27th. I think next year it might actually be the 31st. I'm not quite familiar, but anyway. So what we hear in Tennessee, these mid-latitude states and south, hunters want to hunt as late as possible because birds come back.
Yeah,
later.
They're still there. Yeah,
and so if we have the opportunity to hunt until the last day of January, I mean, that's what people want. I mean, you're not really getting 7 more days. You're just getting your days shifted a little bit.
Because you're only allowed 60, right?
Right. We're only allowed 60 days. And so, but if we can hunt as late as possible, that's what people want. Well, this year, well, it won't happen for this season, but for the 2019 and 2020 season, we will have the opportunity to set the seasons at January 31st to end on the 31st.
Mm-hmm.
And we're pretty certain that's going to happen from here on out. So well into the future. That places a lot of complication on me as the statewide waterfowl coordinator. How do I set that season? Because January 31st doesn't always end on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. It's not always. It could be a Wednesday. It could be a Thursday, Tuesday, whatever. And so you start thinking, do you want to end the season in the middle of the week? And the way we have our season set, we have our 2 days after Thanksgiving, and then we have another 58 days to play with. Well, the way we've got our 58 days set up right now, it works out perfect. If you go to the last Sunday in January and count back 58 days, that's always the first Saturday in September. December. So you're always starting on a Saturday. You're always starting on a weekend. You're always ending on a weekend, and so that's good for a lot of people. Well, if you end on a Wednesday and you count back 58 days,
starting in the middle of the week.
You're starting on December 5th. It'll always be December 5th.
Okay, yeah.
And December 5th could be a Wednesday or a Thursday. So then you start thinking, well, is that what people want? Do people are they okay with starting in the middle of the week?
It might take one of their weekends or something too.
It
so.
could. And if you look at the calendar and you start counting days and you're looking at it that way, I think it's like 5 out of 8 years, you actually lose an entire weekend of hunting. So for some people, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't hunt during the week, and all they get is the weekends to hunt. So so there's a lot of things to think about. You know, a hardcore, diehard duck hunter who's gonna hunt 50 plus days out of the year, they don't care. They probably don't care if it starts on a Wednesday and ends on a Wednesday. They're going to be out there.
Right.
Guides, they're going to be out there no matter what. It might impact them a little bit because they probably get more business on the weekends. And if they lose a weekend, that might, financially, that could impact them. So there's a lot going on there as to how we want to set up the season. We want to go as late as possible, but where you place all those other days, do you start on a Saturday? There's a lot out there. So I wish I had it for you now, but I'm trying to get a survey set up online that, we want folks to tell us, how do you want us to set our duck seasons? What's the best for you? It's not ready to go yet, or I would give you the website to go to, but
Right.
I just don't have it. It's not there yet. So within a couple of weeks, I want to get that going. I want to get it up there, but I want to get people thinking about it now.
Sure.
And realize, and we'll do our best to get that word out through social media, news releases, or whatever. Put it on our website. We need as much input as possible to try to make the best decision, the best recommendation for a season that is acceptable to the most hunters.
Right.
I know we're not going to get agreement from everybody. I just know it because I've already talked with a dozen people, and I've gotten
A dozen answers.
Pretty much, I've gotten like 6 different answers of how to set it up. So, but we need to figure out what's going to work out best for the most hunters, and in order to do that, we need to get as many hunters telling us how they want us to set the
Right.
season.
Okay.
What would be the best for them.
Well, more to come on that.
Yeah.
We'll have, like I said, surveys and information on social media, on news releases. We'll get the information out to you so you can provide us some input.
Yeah.
So, how about some of this?
All
Get your questions answered. TWRAQLA.
all little Q&A.
Yeah, this is one of our new segments, Q&A, and Dawn's talked to Claire up front at the front desk, and she's got some questions today.
Claire's been fielding some calls coming in having to do with checking in your deer.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of folks are using the app out there, and that's great. Using it out in the field, you can check it in actually before you even get it back to the truck. In some cases, if you got service out there, most people do. Anyway, the little difficulty comes when you're hunting with your say a son or daughter or a friend, and you pull out your smartphone, you say, oh, well, I'll just check it in for you. Well, it sounds like a good plan, and that is a good plan, but you got to be sure that you log out of your account first before you do that, and log in with your friends or your sons or daughters' ID. And
That way you're not checking in $2 in one day. Or
exactly, yeah, it gets complicated, and people just don't think about it. Sometimes you think, oh yeah, I'll just do it right here. Well, yeah, then it's you have to call in and sort it all out, and it gets, like I said, complicated. So anyway, just a heads up on that. Make sure you do log out before you check in someone else's big game, deer. So so anyway,
another question I think probably coming in quite a bit is the Sandhill Crane Festival. When is that? I don't know if we mentioned that earlier, but Sandhill Crane Festival is January 18th through the 20th, and the season shuts down. The Sandhill Crane season shuts down during those times for that southeast zone, right?
Right, only for that southeast zone.
So they'll close there so people can enjoy the birds and watch them. They're always there at Hiawassee Refuge. They fly in every year and are awesome to watch. And Mimi Barnes, our information lady in Region 3, she's always making sure that festival goes off without a hitch. And
that's right. And that'll be at the Birchwood School again, on the home base for it. You can go there, park, and ride the shuttle out to the Hiawassee Refuge. There's a lot of gear out there. You can take a look through some lenses and scopes and really take that in. And it's a great thing to take the kids to, the whole family, and they serve food at the Birchwood School. It's always good. I can vouch for that.
Yeah, I can too.
And my band will be playing there too.
Always a good time.
Not that that's a big draw, but anyway, a little entertainment there while you're waiting on the Raptor show or something. Are you speaking again
I
this
am.
year?
Yeah,
Jamie?
I sure am. I was going to throw that in there. And
Good,
So
yeah.
last year, it was interesting. Mimi asked me to come and speak about migration and birds and stuff. And
Uh-huh.
my presentation, I thought I was doing a good job, and all of a sudden, I see the Raptor ladies were starting to bring out the eagles and the hawks and stuff, and I was like, oh, I guess that's my cue. I got to quit. So like the whole the last portion of my talk, which was about cranes showing up at Hiwassee and cranes in Tennessee,
The nuts
like,
and bolts of
right?
what
Like
it
probably
was.
what everybody really wanted to hear, they didn't get to hear. So Mimi asked me to come back, and I said, well, how about this? Why don't I give that end of the presentation that I didn't give, which is what people really wanted to hear about, is cranes coming to Tennessee, migrating cranes into Tennessee.
Start there this time.
That's where
yeah.
I'm going to start.
And
So-
the Raptor show is always a big
Oh,
draw
yeah,
too.
huge. Yeah.
Being on right before the Raptor show is the place you need to be. So that's good.
Yeah,
Good placement
yeah.
for your talk.
I was really surprised. Like, wow, there's a lot of people that really want to hear about migration. And then it wasn't until after I was like, oh, I get it now. It really wasn't me.
A good seat for the
Or
for
maybe
the Raptor show.
maybe I was the draw for the
For the
the
Raptors.
Raptor.
Yeah,
the
there you
Raptor
go.
ladies got
Two great segments. We got to get there on time.
right.
Oh man. Well, hey, and another thing too, we're going to try to do a show out at Hiwassee Refuge.
Yeah.
I think that's a week before, or maybe a couple of weeks before the festival. So hopefully we'll see some birds and be able to do a show right there at the viewing tower. So I thought that would be pretty cool.
I'm thinking that'll be good timing. Yeah.
Yep. So Miss
Maybe
Mimi
some birds
Barnes
out
will be our co-host on that one, and I think we're going to try to have David Haney as the guest. He's our bird guy upstairs, our ornithologist, I guess you could
Yeah,
call
there
him.
you
or,
go. Good.
Watchable wildlife guy. So he'll have some information for us on Sandhill cranes and other bird species to go look at. So that should be fun. So tune in to Tennessee WildCast. We're here every week, and make sure you listen on the radio or watch on Facebook, YouTube, TWRA TV. We're out there in all kinds of places.
We appreciate our radio listeners for sure, and keep tuning in week to week and checking out the WildCast Extra as well.
Yep, WildCast Extra on the radio and all kinds of information out there for you, the sportsman, the wildlife watcher, just to keep y'all informed, keep y'all up to date on what we're doing here at Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. So, thank you, Jamie.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Don.
You betcha.
And we'll see you all next time right here on Tennessee WildCast.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.